really important to know the difference between a seizure and a freak out, okay? You might think they're the same thing, they look like the same thing, there's a lot of twitching, it's sort of vaguely orgasmic, shh. But it's really important to know, seizure or freak out. First of all, a seizure is kind of like an instant catharsis in action, blank slate, boom. But that's a freak out. A seizure is brain cells are dying, which is good because you want your brain cells to die because you know what? Your brain cells are the ones that are holding you back from achieving your full potential. Because do you know why? Why is a single-celled organism smarter than you are? Why? Do you know why? You don't know why. You don't know why because you're not a single-celled organism, so you're not smart enough to know. Single-celled organisms have fewer cell membranes. In fact, they only have one cell membrane to worry about. And you, meanwhile, are full of cell membranes, and they're separating, dividing, trying to make spaces, trying to make divisions between parts of you, and it drives you crazy. Why are you horny all the time? You are horny all the time because you are a pile of walls. Your entire body is made out of walls, and it drives you crazy, and you express this through sexual desire. So, how do you solve this? And your brain is made out of walls. Every cell in your brain is covered with, surrounded by walls. Your brain is made out of walls. If your brain didn't have so many walls in it, you would have a Nobel Prize by now. We would all have Nobel Prizes. Everybody in the world would have a Nobel Prize if we didn't have walls in our brains. This is a documented fact. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. And so tonight, we're gonna show you how to sort that out and basically work through your paramecia dysphoria, which a lot of us are our anxiety at not being single-celled, which a lot of us are suffering from all the time, and work our way towards being soup, because everybody likes soup. Soup is nice, soup is comforting, soup is friendly. So yeah, tonight we've got a great show for you. Baba Waba is going to interview Baba Yaga. Also, we've got the Archbishop, who is a triple entendre. He's like the Archbishop of like Delaware or New Jersey or someplace. He is also extremely snarky. And thirdly, he is a foot fetishist. And if he sees someone who has really nice arches, he just has to like worship them, which is actually kind of inconvenient if you are a real, actual archbishop, because you're only supposed to really worship Jesus, who, as we know, had really nasty feet, even before the whole driving a nail through which, pretty much is the last nail in the coffin of metatarsal attractive. But moving on. Tonight, our first person is going to be Tissa Hami, who is one of my total heroes. She actually performed at Writers with Drinks back in like 2003 when we were doing it in Boston for a while. Wow. So she's like a Writers with Drinks battle-scarred veteran, and she's back for more, amazingly. And since then she's been on like NPR and every TV show and in a documentary about Islamic comics. She is an Islamic comic, and actually 9/11 was really good for her because prior to that nobody really quite knew. They thought maybe she was an Icelandic comic. She would show up some places. They would be like, "We have prepared dried herring cured in vodka for you," and she'd be like, "Okay." And they'd be expecting her to do like a half-hour set about seasonal depression, and they'd get really disappointed. And she is a comic mastermind. She's very very political. She's in your grill. She's up in your face. She's like basically. She's like the Sufi saint of hilarious pain, basically. And it's all too because she spent years trying to master comic timing, and she went too far. Other comedians think of comic timing in terms of split seconds, but she's actually down to femtoseconds, which means that every minute is like an eternity of comedy for her, and it has driven her insane. So watch out. Tissa Hami.